You became the reliable one, the person everyone trusts, the one who always says yes, always delivers, always fixes the mess nobody else wants. At first, it feels powerful. People praise you, managers depend on you, coworkers respect you. You feel valuable, needed, safe. But then, something strange starts happening. The people around you grow faster than you do. Less competent people get promoted. Louder people get opportunities. And somehow, you stay exactly where you are. That's when the confusion starts. Because nobody tells you this early enough. Companies reward reliability differently than you think. They don't always promote the person who carries the system. Sometimes, they trap them there, quietly. Because once you become the reliable one, you become too useful to move. That's the part nobody wants to admit. If you're always solving emergencies, why would they remove you from the emergency? If you're the only person keeping things stable, why would they risk replacing you? Your reliability becomes infrastructure, and infrastructure doesn't get celebrated, it gets used. That's the trap. The corporate world says it values hard work, and technically, it does. But effort and visibility are not the same thing. Execution and influence are not the same thing. Being dependable and being strategically valuable are completely different games. Most people never realize this, so they spend years trying to earn success through sacrifice, through loyalty, through consistency, through being easy to manage, and they accidentally train everyone around them to see them as support staff, not leadership. Think about the people who rise fast. They're not always the smartest, not always the hardest working, but they understand something dangerous. Perception shapes opportunity, not just performance. A reliable employee reduces problems. A visible employee shapes decisions. One keeps the machine running. The other becomes associated with direction. And companies promote direction, not maintenance. That hurts to hear when you've spent years being the responsible one, the mature one, the one carrying everything. Because reliability feels moral. It feels honorable. You tell yourself, if I just keep proving myself, they'll eventually notice. But organizations adapt to your behavior faster than you think. The moment you become consistently dependable, people stop rewarding it. They start expecting it. That's human psychology, not cruelty. Expectation kills appreciation. Fast. The first time you save a project, you're a hero. The 10th time, you're just doing your job. And that changes how people see your value. Quietly. You become associated with stability, not growth. And stability rarely creates excitement, especially in competitive environments. Here's where it gets worse. Reliable people usually avoid self-promotion because they believe results should speak for themselves. But results don't speak. People do. Meetings do. Visibility does. Narratives do. And while you're busy quietly fixing problems, someone else is busy controlling perception. That person gets seen as leadership material. You get seen as operational support, even if you're carrying more weight. This is why so many highly competent employees feel invisible. Because competence alone doesn't create leverage. Strategic visibility does. There's another reason reliability becomes dangerous. Reliable people become emotionally predictable. Managers know you won't complain, won't push back, won't leave suddenly, won't create friction. So guess who absorbs extra work? You. Guess who trains new employees? You. Guess who cleans up failed projects? You. And because you handle pressure well, people assume you can keep handling more. Until your entire career becomes built around rescuing systems you didn't create. Meanwhile, the people protecting their time look higher value because scarcity creates importance. That's uncomfortable, but true. The employee who always says yes becomes replaceable labor. The employee who controls access becomes strategic. Companies rarely say this out loud, but they respond to it constantly, and reliable people often confuse being liked with being respected. Huge difference. Being liked gets you more work. Being respected gets you boundaries. Promotion often comes from perceived leverage, not obedience. That's why some workers stay stuck for 10 years, doing the same thing while less experienced people leapfrog them. The reliable person optimized for trust. The ambitious person optimized for positioning. Different game, different outcome. And this starts early. In school, reliability gets rewarded. Follow instructions, be consistent, meet expectations. But high-level careers don't work like classrooms. At higher levels, people are rewarded for visibility, decision-making, influence, political awareness, narrative control, not just execution. That transition destroys a lot of smart people because they think excellence automatically scales upward. It doesn't. Sometimes excellence locks you into service roles, especially if you never evolve your identity beyond the dependable one. Here's the brutal irony. The more reliable you become, the more invisible your effort becomes, because smooth systems hide the person maintaining them. Nobody notices what never breaks. That's why crisis managers often get more recognition than prevention experts. Even when prevention is harder, humans react to visible impact, not silent consistency. And if your entire career is built around making things look effortless, people underestimate what you actually do. Every time. You know what makes this even more dangerous? Reliable people often attach their self-worth to usefulness. If they stop helping, they feel guilty. If they create boundaries, they feel selfish. If they prioritize themselves, they feel irresponsible. So they stay trapped in overperformance cycles for years, sometimes decades, not because they're forced to, because their identity depends on being needed. That's the emotional hook, and companies benefit from it massively. The employee who overfunctions without demanding leverage is incredibly profitable. No drama, no negotiation, no resistance, just output, consistent output. But eventually, something breaks. Burnout, resentment, exhaustion, or worse. The realization that all your sacrifice created dependency instead of advancement. That realization hits hard, especially when you watch someone with half your workload move ahead faster. That's usually the moment reliable people finally ask the right question. Not, how can I work harder? But, how am I being perceived? That changes everything. Because career growth is partially about competence, but massively about positioning. You need people associating your name with impact, not just support, with direction, not just execution, with strategic value, not just availability. And this doesn't mean becoming fake, or arrogant, or manipulative. It means understanding organizational psychology. You can be reliable without becoming invisible, but you need boundaries. You need selective visibility. You need ownership. You need to stop solving every problem quietly. Sometimes people need to see the complexity. Sometimes you need credit attached to outcomes. Sometimes you need to say no. That word changes careers. No, reliable people fear it. Strategic people use it carefully, because every yes teaches people how accessible your time is. And unlimited access destroys perceived value. Fast. The goal isn't to become lazy or selfish. The goal is to stop confusing self-sacrifice with career strategy. Those are different things. One makes you admirable. The other makes you promotable. Very different outcome. You also need to understand this. The workplace rewards emotional signaling. Confidence signals leadership. Boundaries signal value. Clarity signals authority. Constant availability signals replaceability. That's the game most people never see. Because they're too busy proving they're hardworking. But at some point, you have to stop building a reputation as the person who can survive anything, and start building a reputation as the person whose time matters. That shift feels uncomfortable at first, especially if your identity was built around helping everyone. But if you never change it, your career becomes a permanent support role inside someone else's story. And the scariest part? Most reliable people don't even realize it's happening until years are gone. That's why this conversation matters. Because reliability is valuable, extremely valuable. But without visibility, without boundaries, without positioning, it becomes a cage, a very respected cage. And one day, you wake up realizing something painful. The company was never asking you to carry everything. You volunteered again and again and again, until being needed became the only thing making you feel important. That's when reliability stops being a strength and starts becoming an identity you can't escape.